Cinema Steven here, and this is your review of Twisters, the newest summer blockbuster that has just come out in theaters as of today. And I've got to tell you, this movie, it had a lot of anticipation for me personally, because Twister, the original from 1996, one of my all-time favorite movies, it actually held the distinction of being the movie that I had seen the most times in the theaters at that time. It broke the record for me personally. I had seen it 4 times in the movie theater. When Twister, the 96 version, came out, of course, it was such a groundbreaking phenomenon that it was riding off the wave of Jurassic Park. It was just so good. It was from the director of Speed, so I was already biased towards it anyway, but the cast, Bill Paxton, Helen Hunt, Philip Seymour Hoffman, it was just an all-around perfect blockbuster movie. It's so good. It has its faults, of course, but it didn't stop from being overly entertaining for that point. Which brings me to Twisters, the brand new offering starring Daisy Edgar Jones and Glen Powell and Anthony Ramos. This movie was pure entertainment from start to finish. It encapsulates the true definition of what a summer blockbuster is supposed to be. And, of course, I had a certain bias to the original, but that didn't really affect how I felt about this movie. And I went in there thinking that it was a sequel, but there are little Easter eggs here and there that they do that actually make it seem like it does set within the same universe just 20 years later. But it also feels like a clean reboot, probably because the tech is so much more updated, the CGI, and just everything with the technical aspect of the movie just looks, current, modern day. And I was really entertained by the movie. I think everybody's going to really enjoy it if they like it. Glen Powell and Daisy Edgar Jones, they are so good in this movie. But you know what? I've been buying stock in Daisy Edgar Jones ever since I saw her in Normal People. Same thing goes for Paul Mescal. She is so good in this movie. And Glen Powell, he's kind of following up what he did, especially in Maverick. He's very charismatic. He's very funny. And it's just a really good movie. Some of the motivations of the characters were a little bit not confusing, but they weren't laid out as clean as you would like them to be. But this isn't about that. This is about tornadoes. It's about the special effects. And again, I would highly recommend this movie. I was going into it thinking, of course, oh, just please don't mess up this Twister franchise, whatever it is that they're going to do. But so far, the theater was packed, which I love to see. I love to see a movie that, especially a summer movie, just packed with people. And I think that with the success of this one, they could very well make a sequel to this one, continuing on with the franchise, which I hope that they do, because I love the story of this one. I love the actors. Again, Edgar Jones, Glen Powell, Anthony Ramos, David Cornsweet, who's actually the new Superman, was in this movie. And it's kind of funny to see him in this movie because he plays just a villainous character. Just, I don't even know how to it took me back because I kept saying, oh, there's Superman. Oh, but then he's saying really awful things about human beings. So it was just kind of funny. But again, Twisters is now out in theaters. I highly recommend you see it. The director, I want to give a shout out to him, Lee Isaac Chung. He directed this movie with Stephen Yeun called Minari, about an Asian family living in Oklahoma. And he's from Oklahoma. The movie's set in Oklahoma. So I thought, oh, okay. Anytime they bring in an independent filmmaker, an auteur, if you will, to come in and direct a big mainstream movie like a Marvel movie, I always think, oh, just get a filmmaker that knows what they're talking about. I took it all back. I didn't realize he was from Oklahoma. So he's lived this life. He's lived his entire life in Tornado Alley. So it's a very personal story to him. And it really shows. And I, again, highly recommend Twisters.